Gung-ho reaction, a topic taboo. Hey there, kids, it's Folie.
I do apologize.
It was a good one.
It was.
Don't be sorry.
It was meaty.
It was. It had some girth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Meaty,
I think it
girthy.
was the hummus that I ate earlier mixed with the
Ooh.
beer.
Mm.
Guys, I just burped in case you hadn't honed your detective skills. Oh, I'm not talking into the right portion of the mic at all. How about that?
Oh, look at that. Look, how it
look at
changed.
that.
Look at that.
Just joking. Here we are.
They've already signed off, turned everything off. They're like they still sound like shit this many episodes in.
Their sound has gotten even worse, if that were even possible.
And we did not think it were.
Worth it.
You know, it's really just bullshit that a microphone doesn't work in every direction.
Yeah, what? Why? How?
I think that maybe this isn't an omnidirectional one, which I think is good. I think that's the word for it. I'm not sure. But it's good because if it is here, just here where we're talking, then it only picks up that sound and not all of the crazy sounds around.
Oh, so that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I will no longer knock this mic.
I know. I'm done knocking it too. Except for into the table sometimes.
My
into
mouth.
My hands. My mouth.
Sometimes I'll chew a little bit gently so that I'm not distracting anyone.
Yes, because we have found.
Oh,
I mean, we've discussed this. I am a major mesophobia.
Get mesophoniac?
Mesophoniac.
I think.
I don't know.
Mesophoniacal? Mesoflatulent? You have misophonia.
I have misophonia. And then another podcast that we were listening to this week had an episode with a guest who was obviously eating something at the beginning.
And I'm sorry, but what kind of sociopath does that? I think we've done it before.
As I take a big gulp of beer.
You know what? When I listen to podcasts, though, and I can tell that they've got some kind of like a nice bourbon or something, and you can hear the ice clinking around.
I like that.
I like that. But
I
the
do
chewing,
like that. No, I cannot handle the chewing. And she wasn't rudely chewing, but she was like finishing up chewing, and you could hear it. And it really bothered hundreds of people in that group. Did you see that thread?
I saw that. And what's funny, I'll also say, I called her a sociopath. I didn't even notice. I don't know how I didn't notice, but then I saw that post later, and everyone was like, I couldn't, like, she was such an interesting guest, but I couldn't listen because she was chewing the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, and really, she was only chewing for about the first 10 minutes.
So
and
maybe they were out.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
They were out way too soon because it really was a very interesting episode. So
yeah. So we promise not to chew into the microphones. If you're into that, there are plenty of places you can get it.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe there are whole Japanese YouTube channels for it.
People enjoy the sound of people eating.
Yes. There are people that
freaks. I'm just kidding.
That it is a little freaky
for me.
But I have my weird sounds that I like.
I like a lot of sounds.
I like kissy sounds.
Ooh, like...
Well, no, that was kind of gross. I don't know. Like
sounds that I love.
Okay.
Horse hooves.
Yes.
Walking on little pebbles in certain types of shoes. Walking on cement on certain types of shoes.
Walking on pine needles. A blanket of pine needles with the smell rising in the air.
I'll have to hear that one
let's
for certain.
Go. Yeah.
I do like the sound of walking through leaves.
Yes.
I like the sound of crunching paper, but not like opening a chip bag.
Or I don't like the sound of people using letter openers because I'm afraid I feel like they're going to get a paper cut. It makes me really nervous.
It gives me the feel of, you know, when somebody... We've talked about this, scrapes their teeth on a fork, or, oh God, Amy, on a mother freaking popsicle stick.
Oh my gosh.
I can't, it kills my heart right now. It's making my teeth hurt.
It's the texture of the wood. It's like that dry wood. Like, I actually can't even touch really dry, untreated wood without freaking out.
I hate it. I also hate the sound of spaghetti.
This is the part where I'm like, wow, this is maybe the one way in which we are complete opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So spaghetti is my favorite thing in the whole world.
It's crazy.
I could eat it by the fistful. I mean, if you want to see me you see me with very little dignity many times, but if you want to see me with no dignity, put a plate. It doesn't
That's
even
me
have
with
to have
street tacos.
sauce on it. I will just eat the noodles.
Well, okay. I love like lasagna. It is very comforting to me. My grandma made it all the time. She also made delicious spaghetti and homemade spaghetti sauce. I make a mean spaghetti sauce. I'll tell you that. And I like spaghetti every now and then. And I used to really like it. We used to have it here quite a bit. But I got so sick of it. I think because for one, we made it a lot. And for two, it was never really like, it wasn't something that I craved or ever just really wanted. But I worked at an Italian restaurant for a few years.
Johnny Carino's.
Yeah. And just thinking about any of those pastas now make me...
That completely makes sense. It completely does.
Although right now I'm kind of craving it.
Maybe we should go get some.
It's family night.
I mean, look.
We could take our families after this and do...
We should.
Because they have the family platters for half off.
Seriously.
On Mondays.
I'm going to send them a text.
Okay, do it. Let's pause right now. We're going to Carino's after this.
Yeah, we confirmed.
I know you're happy.
You're going to want pasta now, too, because that's the power of suggestion.
After I talk about how I don't like pasta.
Sometimes it just makes you want it more.
Yeah. I haven't had it for a very long time. It's like me and ice cream. I only want it every once in a while, but when I do, I'm like, I need to have it right now.
There's no replacement for it. And also there are a lot of options at Carino's.
Yeah. I mean, there's pasta, there's chicken without pasta, there's eggplant.
Do you think
salads?
Do you think you'll run into someone you used to work with and they'll be like, yo, you think you're better than me coming in here with your not waitressing self and your highfalutin ways? And
no, they'll hug me.
They'll love you. It's so good to see you, Melody. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
I think so. I think that's what will happen.
I love all wait staff. I think they're wonderful.
Yeah.
And they have the hardest job in the world.
It's very
hard. Can make a kick-ass salary if they're good at it.
Maybe. I mean, I did. It may not be as hard as like a brain surgeon.
Maybe not.
But it's pretty difficult.
Emotionally, I think it is, though.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes.
Some people act like they're about to get brain surgery.
Right. Speaking of,
what is it?
I don't know how that's a speaking of. But should we talk about?
Yeah, you guys need to hear something really weird.
It's weird, but it has a happy ending.
And it's okay, guys. Like, hold on tight. We're all going to be fine. So this thing happened last week. It was actually this time last week.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, we're at our week anniversary of our very first fight.
We got into our first fight, which turned out to be a hideously ridiculous misunderstanding.
It was just 100% a misunderstanding, and it's all good now.
Yeah, in fact, it's better.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for us because if you don't fight with the people you love, that's a bad sign. It's a real bad sign. It means that there's something happening where you're not being honest with one another.
Yeah.
I think
so too, or with yourself.
That too. Yeah. Maybe even more so.
And if we'd have just blown it off as to be nothing, then eventually it could have gotten just worse and worse and worse over time. Another thing makes you mad, another thing makes you mad, another thing, and then in the end you're just like, I just hate this person.
And you built it up into this thing that it wasn't too. Yeah. It was a good lesson for me, and the lesson basically was I should not trust any of my perceptions.
Well, the lesson for me was, listen, and I know this because I myself live by this rule, and in both ways, on the receiving and the giving end.
It's starting to sound dirty.
I know. Sorry. Always punctuate appropriately.
especially if you're talking to a highly sensitive copywriter.
And especially if you're, I mean, generally, I over punctuate like crazy. There's typically in a 3-sentence paragraph or text message to you, I'll have at least 15 exclamation points.
And a million emojis, half
So
of which
many
don't even
emojis.
make sense, but they make sense to me.
Yes, exactly. Like,
so I
knife
feel
apple.
like knife apple. We know knife apple. We know pig air.
Yes.
No one else needs to know.
Nobody needs to know, but we do.
We know the eggplant and the praying hands. And no, it is not a booty call.
Nope.
I feel like I should start at the beginning of this and be brutally honest about how I set the ball rolling. So last week, right before we started to record, I was like, Melody didn't know this, but I was, for some reason, like weirdly crazy excited to share with you guys that biker, the lady that got into the car crash.
Because you're a nice human.
Maybe. That she didn't die. And I was like, oh, Melody's gonna be so excited when I remind her that we get to give them an update and that she didn't die.
Yes, and what do I say?
She looks at me with her very like steady, beautiful stare that she doesn't realize can be really scary, and goes, no one cares. No one cares. But she didn't. So sorry. She did not mean it that way.
I really didn't.
I knew she couldn't possibly mean it that way because I know her. But I felt my eyes watering, and I felt my eyes like starting to itch, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. But then I was like, I completely put it out of my head. I was like,
we recorded?
Yeah, we recorded. We had a great time. Like, I didn't even think about it. But then this is where I made my first really bad choice. So I got home and I started thinking about it. That's never a good thing, but it's going to happen because that's who I am. And I was like, oh, that really did kind of hurt my feelings. And maybe she would want me to tell her, but I don't know because I get my feelings hurt a lot. And I can't tell everybody all the time when they hurt my feelings, or they're going to feel like they have to walk on eggshells around me. And that's the last thing I want. So I did this stupid mistake of posting on Facebook and asking for advice. Obviously, I was feeling hormonal. Pretty much if I do that, just comment and say, Amy, take a nap and some ibuprofen and delete this post. And so I just said, what do you guys think about when you should tell someone they hurt your feelings or when you shouldn't? And not even thinking about the fact that, of course, Melody was going to read this and like possibly wonder if she'd hurt my feelings because I tell her everything. And if I didn't tell her, then by omission, it may have been her that I was trying to decide if I was going to tell it to, if that makes any sense. So people wrote some really nice things, actually. It's not their fault. They just showed up to a party they didn't,
Even my mom is like, I'll spit in their eye.
Her mom wrote, I'll spit in their eye. And I was like, oh no.
It makes me laugh so hard now, like in hindsight, looking at the comments, especially my mom, I'm like, thanks, Mom.
And I was like, oh, I can't like this comment, but I have to respond to it. So, but then I mentioned it to my husband the next day. I was like, I did this silly thing last night and I posted on Facebook about it. And he was, gave me very rational advice like he always does. He's like, yeah, I mean, you were bound to accidentally hurt one another's feelings eventually. He's like, but I'm sure, like, her character. I'm sure that you guys were just perceiving the conversation differently. And I was like, yeah, I think all it was she thought we were just throwing ideas around and that she just said that, like, she didn't mean like I had said something stupid. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, but I posted about it on Facebook. And he's like, that's what that was about. And he's like, she might understandably be a little bit annoyed with you for that.
Let's just say here at this point, I still had no clue.
No clue that any of this drama was going on behind the scenes. And then I was afraid to text her because I was like, plus I knew she was busy and I was having a really busy day. But I was like, I'll just talk to her. I told Vu, I was like, I'll just talk to her in person at Zumba, and I'll just make sure, I'll just tell her the whole story and make sure she understands and say that I'm sorry for posting about something on Facebook that was really dumb. And when I saw you, class had like 2 minutes to start. And I said hi to you and I gave you a hug, and then I felt like I acted super weird because I was like, well, I can't just have a regular conversation with her. And
everybody was around too.
Yeah, everyone was around, but I can't have a serious one either. So I just kind of stood there like a log.
Me too, though.
Yeah, but come to find out, like all of this, like later on, she had no clue that anything was wrong. I had this whole drama built up in my head. So I come back from Zumba and Boo was like, so did you get the chance to talk to Mel? And I was like, no, and I feel like she might really be mad at me because we didn't talk at all. And I haven't heard from her all day, but maybe, I just didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So I sent her a text message. And, oh man, this is just such a cluster meep on my part. So I said, I'm sorry. I was like, I know you've had a really rough day. Like, you had a ton of stuff happen. Mm-hmm. And plus, it was the day of that tragedy in Las Vegas. And I was like, this is like, and I felt bad. I was like, why am I upset about something so trivial on a day like this? Whatever. But life happens. Yep. You know? And, but I was like, I hope I haven't upset you. And I'm so sorry for everything. Which I meant, like, I'm so sorry, like, everything that you've been through today. Yeah, yeah. And your busy day.
And this is where the punctuation comes in.
And she just wrote back, upset me how? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that was, I don't know how to interpret that. Of course, she was just saying, upset me how?
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, what if she wants me to have to be the one to say it? And I was like, and that's where if I had just said it, it would have been okay. But I was like, well, I don't know. And instead of saying how I thought I might have upset her, I explained why I thought she might have been upset. I was like, I haven't heard from you today, and we didn't ride a Zumba together, which we always do, and I don't know. And then I was just kind of like, And then she writes back and says, so she just wrote back, I've been busy today. Like you knew I had a really busy day. But I read it like, I've been busy today. I told you I was going to be busy all day. So then I burst into tears.
This is so funny because when I was explaining to Josh, when what came up next came up, I was like, but this is how I wrote it. I was like, I've been busy today. I was spending time with the kids. We had appointment after appointment. And then I think I said like, I didn't hear from you, but I just assumed that was because you were busy with work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what if she read it as...
I didn't hear from you.
Yeah, exactly. As... I've been busy. I've had appointments all day. I didn't hear anything from you, and I didn't just assume.
That's
like, it could have been taken exactly like that.
That's exactly how I read it, and I was so shocked because I was like, she would never talk to me like that, which should have been my first clue. She would never talk to me like that. And so I wrote back, I was like, that didn't sound like you at all. It sounded mean, and I don't know what to think. And so, like, I think at that point she just called me. I was like,
oh no, this is no. Yeah, I got a call.
So she called me on the phone and said, Amy, you're being silly. And I was just crying. I was like, oh, and I think you had also said, like, I don't know how I was supposed to say it. Like, but I took that as, how was I supposed to say it? Like, it was that Key and Peele sketch.
It was completely 100% that.
And and I was like crying, and I go, I can't talk to you right now. I'm sorry, I have to hang up the phone. And then I was just gone.
And I was like this. Like, I was smiling when I called you. I was like, we are gonna laugh about this in about 3 seconds. Ring. And I was like, oh shit, this is really bad. And then I just didn't know what to do after that.
I didn't either. So I was like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to figure out why I'm so upset. But like, I've told Melody, I was like, I do not cry that often, but when I do, it's like those geysers that only go off every 6 months.
Yeah.
And when they do, like, steer clear, or you will have all your skin burned off.
You're
like,
Yosemite, baby.
I was.
Wait, no, that
I was in
happens pretty
full
often.
on. Yeah, I was in full on whatever geyser mode, like just. And I couldn't stop crying, and I was like, this is so ridiculous. And like, I heard myself, and I like sounded like a raptor. I was like. And I couldn't stop blowing my nose, and I ran out of Kleenex, and I started blowing my nose on a t-shirt, which I'm gonna save now. No, I already washed
I'm
it.
wearing it.
But I'll let you borrow it. So then I was like, this is so ridiculous. So I wrote, but I was like, you know what? She's probably like so frustrated with me. Who knows, like, if she wants to deal with me anymore. At this point, I've made myself out to be someone who's so easily offended and hard to deal with. And she probably doesn't even want to be my friend anymore. So I wrote her and I said something like, I'll always care about you. I'll always want the best for you. Even if I totally ruined our friendship. Like, that's how it sounded to me.
Yeah.
To her, it sounded like I was breaking up with her.
100%. I was like, no, not over a text message.
So she wrote me back and she said that. She was like, you don't get to break up with me over a text message about something as silly as this misunderstanding. Please let me talk to you on the phone. Like, you can cry, you can cuss me out, just let me talk to you. And then you said, like, big kids. And I was like, I am acting like a baby. So I sat there.
I thought big kids sounded better than adults. Like, that sounded really mean in my head. Like, let's talk like adults. But I was like, let's talk like big kids.
Yeah, like big, because we'll never be adults. No. But big kids is a good thing to search, to reach for. So I sat there for a second and I like took 3 deep breaths and I was like, okay. So we got on the phone. Which
had no punctuation.
No punctuation. Oh, God, we were both playing that game. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a game on your part. So we talked, and first of all, she was just like completely taken aback that I thought there was anything going on between us all day long. And then
I was oblivious, and like, I think probably I should have realized, like, now that I think of it, I'm like, oh God, I should have the thing is, I did, when I saw the message or the thing on Facebook, I was like, oh, what if that's about me, about the whole thing, like where it started. I was like, what if it's because I said that stupid callous shit?
That's so crazy that you even thought about it.
Like, I did. Yeah. And then I was like, that's crazy. What? No,
she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't write a vague book post about that. She would just tell me.
Oh, jeez.
Like a big kid. So we worked it all out. And I feel that it all could have been prevented if right at that moment when I got my feelings hurt, I would have said, just taken a beat and said, I know you couldn't have meant it that way, but that kind of hurt my feelings. Yeah. You would have been like, oh, of course it did. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and we had bantered about it a couple times in the episode.
Yeah, in the episode.
And I realized, like, if it was something, it had to be that, because it was a total dick move on my part to say that. I don't even know, like, why that came out. Like, nobody cares about that. In my head, I was saying it in a different way. I'd forgot that we had discussed it the week before and was like, oh, you know, like, that's not. And then once you were like, well, we kind of left him on a cliffhanger. I was like, oh yeah.
Okay, we did talk about that.
I can't remember what happened 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
This is the power of triggers, though, because, and I know that's kind of an overused word, but for
it's a true word.
Like, nobody cares, based on some emotional abuse stuff that's happened with certain relatives growing up. That phrase gets me. Yeah. And like, but she didn't know. How could she know? Like, that's something your best friend should know, and you should be able to tell them, which now she knows.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to add a disclaimer, which Melody already knows. I hope you all know. I'm not always this crazy.
No, not even a little bit. And I don't even think it was crazy. It was, It was just something, it was something that was bothering you, and that you don't have to apologize about that.
No, that part.
No. But it was just something, it just kept building, it snowballed. And that's all. And now we know, though, like, we just needed to, it's bound to happen again.
It is bound to happen.
As much as I hate to say it, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
But we just know now that we can talk to each other about those things, and it may be awkward, but if you can't talk to your best friend about those kind of things, who can you talk to about it?
And I know that your best friend can handle your raptor cries.
For sure.
And your insane, just nose blowing on a t-shirt, cannot breathe or talk crying moments. Because that's the reality for some people. For a lot of people.
I just can't wait to pull out my wacky card one day.
Keep it in your pocket like a hidden ace.
It is. It's there. You don't know when it's going to happen. Could be 30 years from now. And I'll just be like, I want you to remember October 2nd, 2017.
Yes, we noted the date.
Never forget.
Never forget October. Oh my God. We love you guys.
We love you. We really, really do. That's not the end of this.
And we want you to know. No, I want you guys to know that if we ever hurt your feelings, please tell us.
Yes.
We'll listen.
We really will.
And we may laugh, but we will laugh after it's all cleared up.
Yeah, we'll make
sure.
We're laughing as a group. Oh my gosh. All I could think about too was, well, a number of things. When I thought, oh my God, she's breaking up with me. I was like, 1, what's going to happen with the podcast? 2, how are we ever going to Zumba together? 3, what about our kid best friends? 4, what about movie nights? My name still hasn't gotten picked.
We also had a girls' trip coming up.
We had a girls' trip planned that we had this weekend, which will bring us beautifully into Amy's big something weird.
Yes, I've got it. We got to do some on-site research this week. And we got to go to Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, one of the most haunted places ever.
One of the most haunted places ever. Haunted AF, if you will.
Yeah. I will.
You will, and a lot of people will, because it's a very popular tourist attraction, with good reason. Now, one thing about Eureka Springs is they know about all these legends and ghost stories, and yeah, they capitalize on it, but it's in a charming, adorable way. And I really do believe that most of the tour guides who tell the ghost stories and the mediums and the psychics and whatever else is out there, tons of stuff like that, they truly believe.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun.
It really does. They're like telling it with conviction.
They are. And as a skeptic, I will say that even to this day, telling you this right now, I am not sure how much of this haunting stuff I believe. But I can also say that I enjoy it and that I can suspend my disbelief because the stories are so good, the history is so interesting, and they make it work. They really do. So if you don't want to pay for the ghost tour, just take a minute, drive up to Eureka Springs. We'll wait.
Okay.
You
there yet?
Put in your headphones and follow my audio tour. I hope I don't get sued for this. So mostly today we're going to talk about the Crescent Hotel. So the town of Eureka Springs was established and christened Eureka Springs on July 4th, 1879. And as the town name suggests, they have a crap ton of natural springs. So yeah, the town was basically established because people started to get wind of these miraculous springs. And they started to show up in droves, hoping to be healed of various ailments. Because back in those times there are not a lot of sophisticated medical treatments, and people needed healing of all kinds of crap. I mean, this is the late 1800s. So they piled in, they found a way to live however they could, they built shanties, they lived in tents, they just wanted to be close to the healing waters. So it is a beautiful town, and it's deeply historical. The significance of Eureka as a historic district is that it has survived fundamentally unchanged from its original 20-year building period, even through the Depression and World War II.
That's amazing.
The whole town of Eureka Springs is on the National Register of Historic Places.
The whole town.
The whole town.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it was first called the Magic City, which I'm assuming has something to do with this springs, but it later became known as something we can appreciate, which is the Stair-Step Town.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's got so much steep terrain. It's got all these little treacherous paths and stone staircases, and they just like snake all over the city, and the roads just wind up all over the place. It is so fun. But the Crescent Hotel is going to be our focus today. It was built in 1886, and the interesting thing about the Crescent is that, one of the many interesting things, is that it is made entirely of natural limestone. Minecraft lovers?
Oh,
take
yeah.
note. Not only the walls, but the foundation.
Most of the town is, too.
Most of the town. And this is why they believe, if you believe in this kind of stuff, that limestone is a great conductor for supernatural energy. Like, it just kind of holds it in somehow.
How do people even figure that out?
I do not know. I mean, it's crazy, but I know that there's so much to do with stones that, you know, people who believe in that kind of stuff are really into. So a whole building, a whole foundation full of limestone, to them, that's a really big deal. So here are some of the things you might see if you stay at the Crescent Hotel, which we didn't get to stay in this weekend. We tried, but we're going to stay there soon. You might see a ghost named Jacob waiting endlessly for a woman to come meet him for breakfast.
Oh.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
They have a cute little brunch place downstairs. I mean, it just looks like something out of Victorian times, too. It's got all the big glass doors and windows.
It's where they do the, like, wedding
stuff.
Yeah.
You might see a man dressed in Victorian clothes coming out of the elevator and walking straight through the door. These are all things that multiple guests have reported seeing at the Crescent.
You're kidding.
Yeah. So the elevator, which we have a story about in a little bit. If you stay in 419, which is considered one of the most haunted rooms, your stuff may get packed up and moved against the door, as multiple guests have reported.
It was that one lady.
That one lady. She was like a nurse who was very type A and very tidy. And to me, it sounds like she also wants people out of that room.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to pack up your stuff and you need to move on.
Yep.
Michael, the Irish stonemason who fell to his death while building the hotel in 1885.
Ooh.
Very sad. Theodora, I hear her name a lot, and I love the name Theodora, by the way.
Too.
If I ever miraculously have another child, I want to name her Theodora and call her Theo.
Well, we talked about Van Gogh's brother is Theo, and it's such a good name.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
I haven't made that noise. But she was a cancer patient from the Dr. Baker hospital days, which we will talk about soon enough, who seems to need help finding her room key. So I feel like she's kind of my spirit animal.
We had the conversation. Which one of us is more likely to lose this key?
And thankfully I didn't lose it, but I did forget that I had it. It was a eureka moment when I realized I did. Norman Baker, who you'll hear about soon, apparently walks around the hotel in a white suit and a lavender shirt.
Really?
Yeah, what a douchebag.
For sure.
There's a cat named Morris that apparently lived there for many years, and he still shows up and guests report petting him, but he died long ago.
Oh.
A mystery patient in a white nightgown who appears only in the luxury suites at the foot of your bed.
Oh my God.
Yep. And I really, really, when we stay, I want us to find the best long white nightgowns we can.
Oh,
so that we can roam the halls.
We have to get matching ones, please.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Just sidebar, not really sidebar. It's on whatever. Josh's sister Lacey said that if we stay on the second floor, we will definitely have some kind of activity.
It's the most haunted floor. It's a hotbed.
That's where they stay.
Oh, I cannot wait. Yes, please, if you're listening and you have a story, post it. Or if you have a picture, please post it in our Folie Do. Just search Folie Do podcast on Facebook. We want to see it.
We definitely do. Or you can email us
at
folie.a.do.duo@gmail.com.
Yes! So the one other one, which kind of breaks my heart that I have listed here, is a little boy who died in the hotel.
Yeah.
But the thing about him is, according to our guide, he's a happy boy. And he used to cause trouble down in the laundry room where they would come down and things would always be messed up. But they realized later that if they put a ball down there, the ball would be moved all over the place, but nothing would be messed up. He just wants to play.
That one, the guide could see that it was making me real sad.
Yeah, it was really breaking your heart.
Yeah.
And apparently this is one that mostly only shows up to little kids. Like other little kids get to see him and play with him and talk about it, and then later find out he was a ghost boy. Now, before we get into any more about the Crescent, I thought we should talk about our experiences in Eureka.
Yeah.
Of which we had 3.
Yes.
And
you did? 3?
Yes. I will rank them from most legitimate to least legitimate.
Okay.
So the first one I'll say is that we stepped into the elevator and we knew we weren't going to be able to play the elevator game. I still don't know all the details about it, but I know you have to have 10 floors or something.
Yes.
There are only 4 at the Crescent.
Couldn't do it.
We stepped in and we're just going back and forth and confused and all over the place about which floor we should go to. And all of a sudden the elevator starts moving.
Yep.
We haven't pushed any buttons and we stop at the 2nd floor. We look around. There is no one anywhere nearby. We run out.
Stepped out of the elevator.
Stepped out of the elevator. No one was there. We looked down the hallway. No one was there.
Yep.
So something brought us to the 2nd floor. That wasn't us.
Yep.
You can think what you will about it, but it happened.
It did.
The next thing that happened was not at the Crescent. It was when we were walking around town. And
this one.
It was very weird, but I will say that I was quite tipsy. I wasn't falling down drunk by any means.
Not at all.
I was rational and lucid.
Like the beginnings of a buzz.
And I was walking down a set of stone stair steps right next to a large brick wall. And I started laughing because I felt like, and I said it, I was like, I feel like a magnet is pulling me to this wall. And my shoulder just kept slamming against it over and over again. And I mean, you could easily say, well, you were just, not too sure on your feet at that point because you'd had like a big glass of beer and I think a glass of wine. It was nothing insane though. It wasn't like, I can actually hold my liquor pretty well. Yeah. And, but then Melody was like, are you joking? And I was just laughing. I was like, no, it's so weird. And she's like, no, that wall is supposed to be super haunted.
Yeah. That whole building that you were like slamming into.
Yeah. And I was like, are you joking? And so I start like moving away from the wall and grabbing the railing on the opposite side. And I swear I just get slammed back into the wall.
She did get slammed back into the wall.
It was, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So, and then my arm started to really hurt, maybe from just being slammed against the wall. I don't know. But there was like a spot on my arm that felt like it had been pinched really hard.
You got pinched?
And I don't know what. Maybe I got pinched by a ghost.
You got pinched by a ghost.
But then...
Or it was a love bite.
It could have been a love... Ooh.
He apparently was some sailor man.
Ooh. That would explain a lot.
I mean...
Maybe he likes tipsy blondes. I mean, what sailor doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who among us? So Mel and Kylie pretty much... took me on either side of them and guided me down the stairs where I kept drifting back towards the wall. And Melody kept saying, you're seriously freaking me out. Take that for what you will. I mean, I could have just been tipsy and it could have been the power of suggestion. But I will say that I had no idea that there was anything significant about that wall.
Whatsoever. I had never said it. And I had just found out like a month before.
Yeah, because you went on a different ghost tour.
Yeah. And they talked about that very building. Apparently it has such like the presence is very agitated.
Ooh.
It has caused people to, I mean, like the story that the girl told me or told us was that these 2 servers there, best friends, got into this huge fight one night and there was no like rhyme or reason for it. And suddenly one of them had a knife fly by her. And she was like, I cannot believe that you would do that. As the other one was taking out trash or something. She was like, I understand you're mad at me, but I cannot believe that you would do that. And she's like, the other one was like, do what? I didn't do anything. I've been outside taking trash out. And then there were like carts falling and this and that. Like, it was just crazy. I don't know.
It was the haunted version of Key and Peele.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't their fault. Maybe you picked up that energy when you did that tour and brought it back with you.
Maybe so. Ugh.
I'm going to completely pass the buck on the ghosts with that one.
Yep, I would.
So the third one, which it did happen. Whatever it means, I don't know. But this brings us back to the Crescent. Yep. Melody and I decided to start sneaking around outside. If you go out to the balcony in the back of the building, you can go down this narrow set of steps to these creepy little balconies on each floor. So we decided to walk down to the second floor from the third, and we go.
It was on the second floor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So we were like, ooh, this is a creepy looking landing. It was like all shadowy and just, things look creepy when they're old and atmospheric. So I, of course, get the idea of taking a creepy boomerang. I'm like, I'm going to do something creepy. And you take a picture or a boomerang, and Melody was like, crawl on the ground. So of course I do it, even though I don't think we were even supposed to be out there.
No. There were cones up.
There were cones up. Who's to say what those cones meant?
An actual like living human put them there.
Yeah, exactly. Someone was trying to stop us, and it was probably the staff, but it could have been a ghost. But anyways, we did it. So I started doing this weird, jerky kind of Jacob's Ladder kind of movement with my head because I thought it would be funny. And Melody was like, oh, that's really creepy. So she takes a boomerang of it. And afterwards, what did you notice?
So I noticed while I was taking the boomerang, something white like flew across, and I'm not talking like a human, like a large size white.
Whoa, yeah, in the sheet.
It seemed to be around as big as my phone, a little bigger. Maybe something around the size of a grapefruit. Flew in front of my phone.
That's so weird.
Even as I was doing the boomerang, went whoop, over to the side to watch it pass,
and I didn't see a thing.
This fast moving thing, but it was like, I don't know, it was very strange. And then in the boomerang, there's a little what you could call an orb. I'm sorry, but I think orbs are bullshit.
Yes,
I know too much about cameras and lens flares to buy orbs.
She schooled all of us, which I appreciate.
It was so funny when she was just like, look at all these orbs at the bottom. And I'm like,
and you're like, oh.
There happen to be that many number of lights up in the ceiling. See? It's a reflection. But there was this little dot hovering around, and there's this kind of white misty thing that goes up.
Yes, and we actually caught it. That was the only creepy thing we caught on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, we caught some intentionally creepy footage, but that was the first thing we did, really. That was before the tour.
You know what, though? Our tour guide, the last time I went, when I didn't, not this time, she said that a lot of times people notice things even months after.
I believe that. I actually saved all my photos.
I was going to say, save them all and keep looking. I'm going to do the same. Yeah. Because something may come up later.
There's one photo that scared me to even take it, and I'm scared to look back at it now, but it was a mirror that was on the wall down in the morgue.
Oh,
but I'll get back to the hotel so you guys have some context for this. So this hotel has actually been a lot of different things. It started out as a resort for the rich and famous.
Ooh.
But it fell into disrepair, and it got purchased later by different people. It was made into an all-girls school, which there are some stories about. Apparently one girl did throw herself out the window, and that people have seen her a couple times. But the thing that interests me the most is that it became a cancer treatment facility run by a man calling himself Dr. Norman Baker. Don't trust anyone with the name Norman. Have we learned nothing?
Yeah, that's true.
Granted, this is way before Psycho came out, but still. It's creepy not only because a lot of people did die there, confirmed died there, but because it was built on lies and the sickest form of greed. The cancer treatments that Dr. Baker made his millions from were totally 100% fake.
Yeah.
He was a charlatan. It was basically a mix of water, spring water, peppermint oil, some other random ingredients. And he would pass out flyers. He would get people from all over the world to come, desperate people who didn't have a cure for their cancer. And he would take them for everything. And when they died, he would find ways to get their inheritance. I mean, this was a bad, bad guy.
Really bad guy.
And a lot of suffering went down in this building. I can't even imagine. I do know our tour guide told us that they had a wing of the building called the asylum.
Yeah.
Where they would move the patients that were suffering so much because, you know, if you start moaning and screaming in pain, people are going to be like, this doesn't seem like a great place to heal. So they basically would just move those people out of earshot until they died. So during Flickering Tales, which was the little ghost thing we did, I would highly recommend that if you can sit for a long amount of time without your butt falling asleep and you're wearing a lot of warm clothes and you don't want to really be scared.
Yeah, it maybe if you want to take your children.
Yes.
It's more like Tall Tales.
It's Tall Tales.
It genuinely is campfire Tall Tales.
Yeah.
And it was around a campfire. I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, I expected to be hearing some
I wanted to hear some
BA
effed up
stories.
shit.
Yeah, and it was like, it was so ridiculous. Talking about a big giant owl bird.
Yes, the owl got me. And
the Raven man.
Someone called Bloody Bones.
Yeah.
I mean...
Bloody Bones was a pig.
With a pig head. I'm sorry. That didn't scare me.
Not at all.
I did appreciate our tour guide. I think she probably had some background in the theater.
Yes.
She seemed to enjoy herself a lot. And she was...
I am Bloody Bones. She did the voice of the Bloody Bones in the woods, telling everyone what he was going to do.
I loved how every time she sat down again, she'd be like, have any of you ever heard that story? Every single time.
And we were all like, no.
No, let's just get down to the morgue, lady.
So at the end, they gave us the option to switch tour guides. I don't remember what this guy's name was, but I do know that he looked a lot like the pictures of Dr. Baker they had. It was weird.
Wearing a weird Crocodile Dundee hat.
Yeah, I don't know what that hat was. It's probably all they had in the costume room. But I kept comparing their faces right down to their earlobes, and I was like, he's a descendant of Dr. Baker.
You never know.
He's going to kill us all.
He could be part of the next generation's story of the Crescent.
Seemed like a nice man, though.
Yeah, he was.
So
he locked us in the cooler.
He did. He took us down to the morgue and showed us a little clip of when the show Taps or Ghost Hunters or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Came to the Crescent, and they feel like they've had some of the best readings and the most promising footage that they've ever gotten on their show from the Crescent Hotel. So they started off getting really high EMF readings. I mean, you may or may not believe in that. They started off having things move around their room. You may or may not think there's an explanation for that. But the clip that we saw, which you can easily look up if you look up Ghost Hunters Crescent Hotel, was they were in the room where they kept the organs in jars after the autopsies. And there's like a little metal locker with the number 2 on it, I believe. And I took your picture in front of it.
Yeah, which was very creepy.
Yeah, it turned out really creepy. They're just walking around the room with their thermal camera, filming stuff. Nothing's really happening. And then even as just a bystander watching the footage, you're like, oh, there's the outline of one of the guys.
Yeah.
And then they show later that there was nobody standing there. They show that they could not recreate it. It is an extremely clear outline of a person. I mean, that's what your brain immediately sees. And even when they freeze it, it's like, no, that's what that is.
Like, it didn't even seem freaky.
Yeah, because it just seemed so normal.
Yeah.
Like, just a person standing there. But there was only the thermal imaging of the person.
Yeah.
There was nobody there. And there's a lot of discussion on the episode where later on they decide that maybe it was a Civil War soldier because of the shape of the hat that it looked like it was wearing.
Yeah.
Which, side note, that night I dreamt for the first time ever that I was a Civil War nurse. And I dreamt that I was really, really bad at it too. And they were like, they made me like work with the animals because they couldn't trust me with the human patients.
But you had a lot of empathy.
I did. I had a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to accidentally hurt anyone.
Yeah.
So I was, working with the animals and they loved me for it. Especially me. No, take that out. But this basement is so much creepier than any regular basement because they used it as a morgue for when the patients inevitably died. And they would supposedly perform autopsies. I don't even know why they bothered, but at least that's what they said they were doing. There were organs in jars, as we said.
Because he was just a serial killer.
He was basically a serial killer. He made millions off of what he did, off all these people he scammed. And I love that the way they finally caught him was mail fraud.
Yes.
Because he was using his patients' names and writing letters, quote unquote, from them, even after they were dead.
Just having them sign papers when they came in, a blank piece of paper, and then a nurse or somebody would write up what it said.
That's so crazy. And he ended up in Leavenworth.
Yes, which we have a little fascination with.
We do. We need to cover Leavenworth for sure.
Do.
So it did look like, to me, it looked like a full-blown apparition. I mean, maybe not full-blown because you didn't see like a person there, but you saw the shape of a person so clear. The last thing we got to do was stand in the room where the body parts had been stored.
Yeah.
And he asked us, like, in all seriousness before, he's like, do you guys really want to do this? You can if you want to. It was just our group.
Yeah.
Nobody else was even down. No one else had elected to go to the morgue. Yeah. And Melody was like, no. And then Shayla
he said, you can stay out here with me. It's fine.
And
I was like, I'll go.
Okay, I'll go.
I'll go in the body room.
So we all go in the body room. It's this dank little room with corkboard walls.
Cork.
I don't know why.
I said, Cork is going extinct.
And then Melody said, Cork is going, and she goes, you know what's funny about cork? And I go, it's highly absorbent.
Which I think is false.
Which is false completely and a really weird thing to say. And then she said it's going extinct. We'd had a lot to drink at this point.
Yeah.
And so we all start laughing, but then he switches off the lights. That's what they do.
Pitch black.
And it gets really quiet, and I start singing a really pitchy Amazing Grace. And we come out, and he's like, you guys weren't scared at all. I heard you laughing and singing in there. But apparently we didn't have any issues with this, but apparently a very aggressive watchman ghost hangs out right there and guards that room.
You're kidding.
Yeah, he didn't tell us that.
No, he didn't.
So
he didn't tell us a lot. We tried.
There's a lot. Actually, I tried to weasel a free ghost tour out of him.
Yeah.
We asked him a bunch of questions, and he's like, I'll tell you if you take the regular ghost tour.
I said, what happened on floor 3? Because he said there's an apparition on the
very
third floor.
disturbing.
Yeah, and I was like, what is that? And he was like, I can't tell you. You'll have to take the ghost tour.
Yeah, I tried to find it, and I couldn't. Yeah, come on now. So if you're sold, you can go to Eureka Springs. You'll probably have to book months in advance.
Yeah.
As we plan to do.
Especially probably around this time of year.
Yes, around Halloween. Buy your white nightgown, male or female. You know, your nightcap, the long one with a little tassel on the end.
And a little hood. Not hood. God.
Oh, God, no. Please don't do that.
A little hat that goes down far. I'm thinking
with
like
stripes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was picturing.
Okay, cool.
And maybe slippers, velvet slippers.
Little slippers that have maybe bunny ears.
Yeah, and I also think next time we go, we should go ahead and go see a medium or a psychic. I'm not even saying I believe in it. I've never done it before, but I think if we're gonna try it,
we might as well go all out.
And that was my very long, twisted, very incomplete rendition of
It can't be complete.
No.
It's not complete still to this day. There's so much there.
It's just an introduction.
Yes.
And I can't wait to learn more.
I hope that somebody writes and emails us, joins the group, Instagram, whatever. We want to hear your stories. If you have any, if you've gone to the Crescent and you have a story, please let us know. If you know of anybody who has, please let us know. We'd love to read it because this is fascinating.
We
to
know
me.
so many people are fascinated with this town.
Oh, yeah. It's such a cool town. I mean, it's an hour away from us. It's just a stone's throw.
It's beautiful. I mean, there's nothing else. Flickering Tales was gorgeous with the towering pine trees and the stars.
It was. An armadillo.
A little armadillo came out, and I never see them alive. I only see them dead on the side of the road.
It just wandered right up. So that looks comfy.
It's very undignified.
Comfy and cozy. No, I mean, if the pillow wasn't there, it'd be undignified.
Yeah,
I think.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm humping a marshmallow.
Oh, God. You kind of just have to see it. I'm going to take... Right now, I'm going to put a little video on... That's so funny.
I'd be like, don't sit on that. That's Amy's special pillow.
So, okay, real quick, I'm going to pause this.
Okay.
Because
Actually slipping.
Okay, so last week I discussed Dear Elisa Lamb, right? And we talked about how it could have been a number of things that caused her death. So one of the things that I mentioned was the elevator game. And that is what I'm going to be discussing with you guys right now. It's so freaky. Okay, so I'll first start by telling you the rules of the elevator game. So apparently what this is, people call it a game, some call it a ritual.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is what freaks me out because rituals have to be done properly.
Yep.
Or things go very wrong.
And that is exactly what the elevator game / ritual is. It's so dangerous and it can lead to really bad, creepy consequences if you don't do it correctly. Even if you, I think, if you don't do it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even worse, right? I mean, I don't know what happens. You tell me.
Who knows? Okay. So Amy and I had thought about doing the elevator game together, but upon more research, we realized it can only be done alone.
Of course.
So,
of course.
One player.
Player, that's so ominous.
You have to have a building that is at least 10 stories high with an elevator, and all 3 of these conditions must be met in order for the game to proceed.
I don't even know where there's a 10-story building around here. I bet when we go to Kansas City, we can find one for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. So you enter your chosen building, get into the elevator on the first floor alone. If anybody's in it, you have to wait. You have to go in alone. 2, press the button for the 4th floor. When the elevator reaches the 4th floor, do not get out. Instead, remain in the elevator and press the button for the 2nd floor. When you reach the 2nd floor, remain in the elevator, press the button for the 6th floor. When you reach the 6th floor, remain in the elevator, press button, wait for 2nd floor. When you reach the 2nd floor, remain in the elevator and press the button for the 10th floor.
How are we supposed to remember? Are you allowed to write it down?
You can write it down.
Oh,
yeah, that's what a lot of people do.
Because I would die otherwise.
Me too. I would have already forgotten. I have forgotten. When you reach the 10th floor, remain in the elevator and press the button for the 5th floor. When you reach the 5th floor, a young woman may enter the elevator. Do not look at her. Do not speak to her. She is not what she seems.
See, this gets me so bad, and it covers me with goosebumps.
I have goosebumps too.
It's the whole amount of self-control that you think you have. I don't know that I couldn't look at her.
Me too. Me neither. Also, the thing is, a lot of the stories that I've read of people who supposedly have done it have made the mistake of looking at what floor they're going, like what floor they're arriving on, and when they look down, they'll see her. Or they're looking at the door instead of looking at the numbers or in the corner or on the floor. And when the door opens, she's there. So they've already looked at her. They've already screwed it up. So if you play this game, which I highly recommend you do not, but if you do, please let us know you're gonna. maybe live feed
Please
that.
do. Does that count?
Yeah.
As still being
I don't
alone?
know.
It should.
Yeah, it should. So, yeah.
So what happens if... Sorry.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
All right, do not look at her. She's not what she seems. A lot of people have said, I've seen varying descriptions of what she is like. Some people are expecting like a gnarled up child. And one that I read said that it was a young girl with like scraggly black hair, like that typical the ring kind of girl.
Look.
Yeah. But that she had purple eyes. Not like all of her whites were black eyes, not dark eyes, purple, like shining purple eyes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Press the button for the first floor. If the elevator begins ascending to the 10th floor instead of descending to the first, you may proceed. If the elevator descends to the first floor, exit as soon as the doors open. Do not look back. Do not speak. If you reach the 10th floor, you may either choose to get off the elevator or stay in it. If you choose to get off, and if the woman entered the elevator on the 5th floor, she will ask you, "Where are you going?" And what I've heard is that she asks, "Where are you going, Alex? Where are you going, Amy? Where are you going, Melody? Where are you going, Josh?
Where are you going?
Vu?
Jess.
Do not answer her. Do not look at her. You will know whether you've arrived at the other world by one indication and one indication only. The only person present in it is you.
Oh.
So this is supposed to take you to what is known as the other world. So another realm.
Are you stuck there forever?
So the return trip.
Oh.
If you choose to stay on the elevator at the 10th floor, press the button for the first floor. If it does not work, keep pressing it until it finally does. When the elevator reaches the first floor, exit as soon as the doors open. Do not look back. Do not speak. If you choose to exit the elevator at the 10th floor, you must use the same elevator and return as the one in which you arrived. Okay, wait. If you choose to exit the elevator at the 10th floor, you must use the same elevator to return as the one in which you arrived. Okay. When you enter the elevator, press the buttons in the same order you did in steps 2 through 8 of venturing out. You should finish at the 5th floor. When you reach the 5th floor, press the button for the first floor. The elevator will again begin to ascend to the 10th floor. Press any other floor's button to cancel the ascension. You must press the button you use to cancel the ascension before you reach the 10th floor. I'm getting confused.
This is so complicated. I feel like this...
After you reach the first floor, check your surroundings carefully. If anything seems off, even the smallest detail.
You might not be in the real world.
Yeah. Do not exit the elevator. If you detect something wrong, repeat steps 2 until your surroundings look as they should. Once you're confident you have returned to your own world, you may safely exit the elevator.
Oh my goodness.
So it says, additional notes, should you reach the other world, the floor onto which you will emerge will look almost identical to the one from your own world, save for 2 things. All the lights will be off, which everybody states is true.
Wow.
And the only thing you will be able to see from the windows is a red cross in the distance. People have said that red cross is not actually a red, like red glowing, like the red that we picture. It's the color red due to the fact that it is made of burning corpses.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
How many people have said they've done this?
I mean, it's on Reddit.
Yeah.
And I mean, take from that what you will. I don't know. But a ton of people have said that they've done it.
Yeah, a ton of people.
One person in particular has said that they did it and they really think that they messed it up. They got home, and like her boyfriend was really obsessed with the whole Alyssa Lamb story, and that this is a huge thing that people think that it was the elevator game that she was playing.
And you can totally see why.
You can absolutely see why, and that it went wrong. And so she was going to do it to prove that it was BS. Mm-hmm. And the girl, the thing happened to her where she was looking at the top of the elevator on the lights to see which floor she was going to be on. And when the door opened, the girl was there. Her. Yeah. And the girl got in, and she didn't say anything to her. And she got in and said that there was an accident on the 5th floor. Can she go with her to help? And so the girl didn't say anything, didn't acknowledge it. And then the girl said it again, but in kind of an agitated tone. And then the 3rd time she said it, she was like, listen, you meeping meep. You meeping meep, you're a meeping meep. And
that's so scary.
Then the girl who was doing the elevator game, like this creepy girl, started like maniacally laughing. And so the participant got freaked out and just like was slamming the girl's head into the elevator uncontrollably. And then the like maniacal laughter, like, no, it was sobbing. She was sobbing like in this horrible, like just weird sob, and it was freaking out the girl, and it was making her mad. And so she was banged her head up against the wall, and then the girl started laughing. And like then the player realized, oh no, I did exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. I looked at her and I acknowledged her. And
I meeped her up.
And I meeped her up. But she just, when she looked at her, her face was just like mingled in a smile.
That is such a good creepy story.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not.
Exactly. All of these have been fun to read and freak myself out with, whether they're true or not. I want somebody to do it.
So did she have any lasting effects, that one? Did
she say? Says yes, that there's I'll have to send it to you. Like that she's always hearing these like people rapping at her windows and at the door, and just she doesn't think she's in the right world. And a lot of them that you read, it's like they're writing from the other world and are like, we're stuck here and I don't know what to do. And everybody's like, play the game again, but do it the right way and you'll get back home. And then other Reddit users are like, no, how do you know that that's not the girl trying to tell you to do it so that you'll, whatever. I don't know.
That's so, like, the fact that the rules are so complicated is like...
What's so funny to me is that everybody that, like, comments on it is very seriously commenting.
Yes.
On it. It's not like, this is such BS. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like they're all very invested. And then some of them are like, well, when I did it, this, blah, 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 blah. And it was the same thing. And what I had to do was this. Not one person was saying it as though it was not. It did not really happen.
Which is fun. Let's all make it fun.
Let's all make it fun. And maybe it is wrong. I don't know.
I would like a beginner's version of the elevator game. Like maybe start with 3 floors.
3 floors, and it sends you to just like Marshmallow Land.
Yeah, 2 instructions. I could do that. Let's write our own and see if we can get it trained.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay, so there's a couple more things that it says here in the additional notes. Some say that electronic devices, mobile phones, cameras, MP3 players, etc. don't work in the other world. Others say they do. Getting back to your own world may be more difficult than it seems. You may become disoriented and forget which elevator in which you arrived. The elevator may seem to get further and further away from you as you walk towards it, and so on. Be vigilant and keep your wits about you.
I want somebody to make a movie about this.
I know.
I'm kind of surprised no one has.
I know. If at any point during the ritual you faint, pass out, or otherwise lose consciousness, you will likely wake up in your own home. However, be sure to carefully examine your surroundings upon waking up.
You're not in your real home.
The home to which you have been returned may not be the one you left when you first set out to attempt
in the labyrinth. Ritual. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah.
That scene, like, just...
Yes, with the trash lady.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That infected my whole childhood.
It says, concerning the woman on the 5th floor, do not speak to her, do not look at her. If you do, she may decide to keep you for her own.
Well, that's kind of flattering.
Yeah. She just wants a friend.
I also think she's got to be testy. If she's the one person who has to deal with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, give her
Or maybe
some...
it's always like...
What if the cross is all of the people who have... What if Elisa Lam is in there?
What if she is?
Gosh, I really
But
like...
then how do they find
Is
her in the
somebody
water
out
tank?
there freaking brave enough? Maybe her body is out there. Maybe...
Yeah, but her soul is... Oh,
I don't know.
Elisa, come home.
Come home. Anybody out there willing to do it?
Yes. If you're willing, we will give you free Folie merch.
Yes, we will, which is coming
It's coming. It's on its way. We've got the hookup
someday.
with some people doing
Somewhere.
cool stuff for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what?
Oh, my God. Also, Jess suggested, our twin baby.
Our Jess.
She suggested that we all come, Amy and I come to LA and go to the Cecil with her. And that we do the elevator game there. The one in which
Mother Meeping Cecil Hotel.
Yes, the one we spoke about last week that Elisa Lam was taken from.
Y'all think we should do it?
Are we each going to do it alone? Who's going to go first? On the behalf of chivalry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you go.
I thought you were
First?
going to say that.
Yeah. I couldn't dare go first. I like to be
Yeah, I mean, I will
nice.
totally do that.
Uh-huh.
As long as you don't ask me specific questions about it later.
Okay.
Because I may not.
You're going to get off at the 5th floor and just run.
And I'm just going to go to the hotel bar.
Yeah. Like, yeah, no, it didn't work at all.
Yeah.
Nah. So freaky. But either way, through our little spat,
Mm-hmm.
through our haunted hotel experience,
Mm-hmm.
and through this right now, I want to say that I love you.
I like you so much.
I care about you.
I really hope you tell your friends.
That we like cotton
candy.
Bye.
Wave when we wave.
Bye. We're waving.
That's a lie. Now we are.
Now we are. Bye.
We did good.
Oh, it's still going.
See, we like